Yo, homies, what's up? So I know I did a banner review Tuesday, not too long ago actually, but today I saw some crazy shit drop, right? So we got a couple of really good banners out this week. So I'll just do my review today, and I probably won't do one next week. It just depends on like what comes up on the banners. So these are all like kind of really good units, right? So I just wanted to kind of go in, deep dive a little bit, and kind of explain the skills real quick. I'll try to do it as fast as I can. So, where is summons? All right, let's hop in. And this, I already did Masushi. She was already in the other review earlier, so we're not gonna really go over her, but she's a great unit to pull, top 5 in my opinion. So, Dark Cinderella, the Black Rose, right? So, Dark Cinderella is kind of like in a weird spot right now, because she is really good. She's still like a top 20 unit, so she's still up there, but she's just fallen a little bit because everybody has execute skills now. However, with Scatter Blast, just like her basic attack, every second time she hits is going to be 300% damage. This is also how she gets her power charges, and after damage is dealt, she'll become enraged. Also have a 50% chance to get the next turn, and this attack ignores counter stances, remember that, and skin passives. So on to the next, we have Demolition Raid. Consumes a power charge. Only usable if she has a power charge, and also attacks 2 enemies at 600% damage. Next up, Spirit Crash. This is basically a life flip, and she'll steal all the spirit from the enemy's team. So that's great to have, especially keeping the enemy closer to zero. But everybody has, spirit in their kit now, so it's useful, but it just delays the enemy for the most part because everybody just regenerates so much faster, spirit wise. Up next, Savage Storm. This is only usable if she's defeated one enemy. This is her execute skill. She also gains a power charge, and she gains an endure, right? So that way she'll survive the next attack. It does become locked, but then it gets unlocked when she kills another enemy. On our passives, Oppressive Ground is basically a resettable hold ground, steals one spirit when she does any damage, gets 65% damage reduction, which also adds some more survivability until she kills an enemy. Then she would lose that 65% damage reduction. Next up, Berserker Requiem. So this is like her bread and butter passive, right? Which lets her in a Berserker form. All her attacks will kill, basically an execute skill, non-boss enemies. However, and all her TU is reduced by 40. However, she ends Berserker form whenever she gets a kill on a real enemy, and she can only enter it when either the enemy has 0 spirit or your allies have 10. So Dark Sydney, she's a good unit. She's pretty great, actually. She can fit into most team builds, most team comps. Highly flexible, a good counter unit, like against counter stance units. And if there's any skin passes on the field, that's going to give you any trouble. So she's good, but there are better units now. All right, moving on to Lubu. So she's fast, high attack, real high attack. One of the highest that I've seen recently. She's almost kind of like one of those must-have units for a burn team. Either you have her or you're going to have Cayuga, right? If you don't have Lucifer, though, then I would actually skip all the other fire units until you pick up Lucifer, have enough unless you have like enough SS and you're not worried about it, right? Because in my opinion, like some of the best burn teams, they're going to be Cerberus, Mordred, because she's like the best support for fire, Lucifer, and then either Lubu or Cayuga, and then maybe like an entry unit. But Lubu could also be your entry unit. However, Dragonfire Dance. This is her basic attack. If this skill was not the last attack used, she gets the next turn immediately. This ignores skin passive counters and counter stances. What else is there to say? Next, Heat Wave. So, this is a spirit generation skill for the most part. It gives her burn and full heal. Has a 50% chance of stunning all units on the field for 100 to you and burns them. Now, this is all enemies. This is everybody on the field, actually, for like the stun and the burn. But this is good for a fire team because 9 times out of 10, they're stun immune anyways. Then she has Hellfire, 400% damage to one enemy, 600 if they have 100 plus TU. And last but not least, Scorched Earth. Locked for 200 TU when entering the battlefield. Locks after each use, ignores damage reduction times to attack with execute skill. So hold ground enemies, they don't have no chance. And has for her passives, Flames of War, it's damage adds damage reduction. Basically her hold ground when she's burning, stun immunity, And basically, while she's burning, it's a TU reduction, enraged, and damage reduction. And last, fuel to the fire. Whenever she gets a kill, a real kill, this is like a non-conjured enemy, she gets an endure, poison ward, full heal. Also, this axe has an entry effect by applying burn to all enemies and stuns non-burning water units, i.e., Water Sydney and Mermaid. So she can be a good like fifth spot. So entry unit, if you need one for a burn team, this is it's decent, and this is good at like at one copy too, right? She doesn't need full awakens for that entry. All right, Okahita. She's an Earth stealth unit. Huge weakness to burn, in my opinion. Not an oppressive unit. Haven't seen too many good teams with her either. I wouldn't pull, but you know, do what you gotta do. All right, so her first skill, which is Trinity Thrust. This is her basic attack. Does really good damage if she has stealth, and this also gives her stealth and a stealth shield if she doesn't have it yet, right? All right, next is Stealth Landslide. It's a ×2 attack, ignoring all enemy status effects. So when they say ignoring the enemy status effects, that includes like stealths, damage reduction, skin passives, counters, all that good stuff, right? However, this is only usable if she has stealth and not burning. So that's like two conditions that has to be met, right? So it's like a double whammy of ugh. All right. So for her Boundless Slash, this is a ×1 attack and only attacks one enemy. It grants stealth, 3 charges, and ignores damage reduction. However, it's not an execute skill when used, but it lets her next attack become one. So she has to use this, and then her next attack will become an execute skill, which kind of sucks. And this can only be used if she has no charges. So it's a setup attack or setup skill. All right, last active skill would be Trinity Onslaught. This is a ×2 attack and grants Mega Poison. However, only if the enemies have less than 25% health. Another condition for her Mega Poison to go off. Damage scales if the enemy has 100 or 200 or more TU. However, only if she isn't burning. So half her kit's gone if she's burning. Passives. Captain's Resolve, grants stun immunity only if she's not burning, though. If this unit has stealth, then poison can't be applied to her. She also gets stealth every 100 TU until she's been on the field for 1000 TU. Also, she has a whole ground power charge, right? For her last passive, it's Vengeance Rampage. So this is basically whenever she gets a kill, a real kill, so that means like a non-conjured enemy, her next attack will become an execute skill and then kill non-boss enemies regardless of hold ground. But the issue with this is it's the next attack, right? So she needs to have like a give turn because she doesn't get turns immediately or anything like that. But also, whenever an ally gets a kill, allies gain stealth and a stealth shield, 2 spirit, and then they're enraged. So I guess that's kind of like a trade-off. However, let's move on to Seaside Cayuga. However the hell you say it. All right. So anyways, she has a decent speed, strong attack, a little bit lower than Lubu's, but nothing to scarf at, right? All right. So her first active skill is Lantern Flare. Basically her basic attack, attacks one enemy, gives her burn, and also is a spirit generating skill. Next, Trail of Flames is an attack all skill. It scales damage if enemies are burning or a guardian. This is only usable if there's a guardian on the enemy team. Next up, Meteor Strike is a ×2 attack skill, so it attacks 2 enemies. It stuns them for 100 TU, ignores stealth, counter stance, skin passives, revenge passives. Only usable if she's burning, which she should be burning most times, especially if you have Lucifer. For her last skill, it's Lantern Festival. It's basically a quicken skill. It reduces allies' TU cost, grants burning to allies with Burn Blast or Burn Drive active skills. Grants Mega Healing Burn, usable only if she's not burning. So that's like the condition for that skill. If she's not burning, that's sometimes she's going to use it. All right, so this is kind of like a cool skill for her. This is her first passive, Burning Moon, right? So basically, this makes her attack become an execute skill, so she can ignore like hold grounds, non-boss enemies. She'll be able to kill them off if she's killed 3+ units, and it doesn't state if they're conjured or not, right? So you know that's important to note. So as long as she kills 3 of anything, and then if she's burning when she attacks, then that would be an execute skill, and she'd be able to ignore everything. So as long as she kills 3 enemies and she hasn't been removed from the battlefield or anything, then it's gravy. Also gives 1 random enemy burn after each enemy turn. As long as there's no enemies burning yet, so this is kind of like a one-time thing. Unless no one's burning, then she starts doing it again. And it also provides sustainability because it gives her heals. All right, next up, Lunar Focus. This is basically her whole ground passive. Grants stun immunity. It's also a TU reduction on her skills. Ignores damage from 2 times attacks if she's burning. So it's kind of like the stealth thing. So if someone exactly attacks 2 enemies, she'll ignore it and she won't get hit. So it's a simple kit, but it's effective, right? Especially in a burn team. And especially if you have Cerberus and what's her name? Lucifer. Cool. So she's a good choice over Lubu. They're both good choices, honestly. They're pretty much in the same tier, like they're close enough to the same rating, so you could pick one or the other. I would prefer Cayuga over Lubu, in my opinion. So it's basically a personal preference. So if you had to pick one over the other, I would pick Cayuga and FA her, or at least get like multiple copies of her, and then get 1 copy of Lubu for the entry effect, so that way she can apply burning to everybody. But if you have Lucifer, do you need it? I don't know. So, all right. Here comes the fucking lady of the hour. The good lady of the hour, right? Oops. Seaside Monarch, King Arthur. God dang, they did good with this one. For real, for real. So she's a storm stealth unit, the holy grail of Evertale, in my opinion. At least right now. Cthulhu, she's up there too. But I do like my Storm King Arthur. I'm just telling you. So if you're missing Storm King Arthur, I highly recommend you pull on this unit over everyone else that's on the banner right now, unless you're focusing like on a specific team comp, like a burn or something. That's your main thing, and that's all you're focusing on. But bro, she's awesome. She's fast as heck. Her attack is a little lower than average, but if you place her in your P1 or like in the first starting at dawn, basically that's what that means, then she'll get like enraged, a permanent enrage. All right, so what are we waiting for? Let's jump in. So Regal Barrage, right? So this is her basic attacks, time to attacks 2 enemies, and the damage scales if she's stealthed. So if she has stealth, her damage goes up. Basically, that's what that means. She also gets a full heal for sustainability, and it ignores enemy status effects. So that includes stealth, also damage reduction, revenge passives, skin passives. All right, so King Arthur's instant skill, which is called King's Shield. So basically, this is a full heal. So that's 2 full heal skills that we already have for good sustainability. She gains a power charge, stealth, and a stealth shield. She also gains all the wards except burn. I mean, why not just give it a burn, you know? Make her super OP. But anyway, so it's sleep, stun, poison wards that she gets. This is only usable when she has no power charges. However, it's only usable 5 times per battle. This is the only way she can get charges. So in my opinion, this is the only way that she's going to get power crept eventually in the future, right? So the whole charge limitations, and also she can only use so many skills so many times per battle. All right, so Regal Wave Master, her next skill, is a ×1 attack skill. It's an execute skill. If the enemy isn't killed, then you gain 2 spirit, and it also ignores damage reduction, you know, so that's cool. It's a strong ass skill too. All right, last, for her active skills at least, Regal Corn Noble. This is a ×1 attack skill. It weakens the enemy when they're hit. It full heals again, a lot of sustainability. It does not consume a charge, however, only usable if she has no charges, right? Again. All right, moving on to her passives. So, Absolute Monarch, right? Absolutely. So she can't be defeated until after her first turn. This is also where she gets her hold ground skill, like with the charges. At the end of each turn, or when she kills a real enemy, so no conjured enemies, she stuns 1 random enemy that is at least at 50 TU for another 50 TU. And then this also scales based on how many storm allies that you have on the field. So each storm ally is another 50 TU. If she ever does fall out of the meta and you want to use her like an entry unit, this is kind of like a good 5th spot skill if you're not using her for at dawn, because it stuns 2 random enemies for 100 TU, and it's also a quicken skill. However, When you take a look at King's Dawn, at dawn, so if she's placed on the field first, this is her primary quicken skill, right? Her primary passive, which is the main reason why she used in the P1 or the first 4 units. If she starts the fight on the field, she gets a permanent enrage and a 50% damage reduction. And also, obviously, the quicken, which is better to have her start at the front. But if she ever starts to fall out of the meta, then you can put her in the back, and at least her first skill, her first passive skill will act as an entry skill in a sense. You know what I mean? So that's one way to look at her. She's going to be hard to power creep. Not necessarily too hard, but I think there will be a time eventually, you know. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and rank them real quick, starting from like where we first started. So Storm King Arthur, S, right? I would put her over everybody else. Cayuga, I would say A tier. She's very good, but she's not going to carry your team. Lucifer's carrying your team. She's going to be doing damage. She's going to assist. She has an attack all skill, but that's good. Okay. Whatever the heck. Anyways, I'd put her at B tier. Lubu, same thing like I was saying with Cayuga. They are pretty close. Like I would put them in the same tier. So she's going to be A also. But also, guys, remember, like when I do my rankings, like I'm only doing B, A, and S. You know, I only have 3. Dark Sydney, as of right now, she's S in my opinion. However, she is starting to go into the A tier. And then we have Masashi. I would definitely put her in S tier also. She's, like I was saying, like one of the top 5. So Storm King Arthur, she's also like one of the top 5 units in my opinion. So if you got some extra SS laying around and you're feeling lucky, go ahead and pull on these banners. However, guys, remember, no unit is worth going under 30K for, especially for free to play. Peace out. I'm the Kai out.